French formal gardens.
The Italian Renaissance garden was a garden style that inspired the early French Renaissance garden in the beginning of the 16th century. It was characterized by planting beds that created geometric shapes and laid out symmetrical patterns. The carefully prepared planting beds and surfaces of water incorporated through the use of fountains and cascades, integrated with sections of greenery found in the Italian Renaissance gardens, became one of the earliest influences of the classic French garden. The gardens were designed to represent harmony and order, the ideals of the Renaissance, and to recall the virtues of ancient Rome. Stairways and ramps were used to unite different levels of the garden, and grottos and statuary of mythical themes were common. These Renaissance gardens were enclosed by walls, and the different sections of the gardens were not harmoniously joined together, and often placed on sites chosen on terrain that was easy to defend and not for beauty. This was all to change with the creation of the Château of Vaux-le-Vicomte in the middle of the 17th century. This was the first real French garden. It was created by Nicolas Fouquet, the superintendent of finances to Louis XIV, beginning in 1656. What was created was a grand perspective space filled with beds of evergreen shrubs and ornamental patterns, bordered by colored sand and alleys that were lined by statues, basins, fountains, and carefully sculpted topiaries. French formal style of garden achieved the height of its glory with the Gardens of Versailles, created by André Le Nôtre between 1662 and 1700. They were the largest gardens in Europe, with an area of 15,000 hectares, laid out on an east-to-west axis that followed the course of the sun.
Straight lines and symmetry and order are the heart of French landscape design. The gardens are also meant to be viewed from a distance where the central axis leads away from the house. It features topiary laid out in symmetrical patterns as well as spaces divided for certain activities. They are meant to highlight the centerpiece of the entire space. Virtually everything in design is geometric and planned with symmetry. Water is often a key feature of French garden design, and lots of rectangles of water will be incorporated, the reflection of the water adding to the symmetry and tranquility of the scene. Round pools, fountains, and cascades are also common features of water. Privacy is another important element of French formal gardens. The design elements of rubble walls, rustic blue gates, and tall clipped hedges add to the effect of privacy in different sections of the garden. The focal point of the garden tends to be the house. The house is the center point of design with large paths with axial views. Close to the house, planting is kept low, without trees, and tends to consist of parterres. Far from the house, the paths are edged with trees which are manipulated. Trees are planted in straight lines to enhance perspective and reinforce symmetry. The terrace is a common element where the garden and its symmetry can be seen from. They are usually made of stone and contain paths that lead somewhere significant. The formal garden were designed for viewing from main rooms and upper floors or viewing from high terraces. Grand flights of steps were also used on the terraces to access the viewing areas. A parterre is a formal garden construction on a level surface consisting of planting beds, edged stone of tightly clipped hedging, and gravel paths to form a pleasing, usually symmetrical pattern. It contains intricate patterns created from shrubs of planting and can be found in less detail farther away from the house. The patterns in parterre gardens sometimes tell a story or depict an emblem or symbol in the way they are designed. Folly building can be used for decoration to create garden ornaments beyond typical structure. The colors of the French formal garden tend to have an emphasis on whites, greens, blues, and purples. Some of the key features and materials that can be seen throughout formal gardens are gravel paths, courtyards, concrete balustrade, cast iron seating, columns, simple elegant furniture, and trellises.
All vegetation needs to be constrained and directed as to demonstrate the mastery of man over nature. Everything is in straight lines and carefully trimmed. Flowers used are now in a wide variety of colors, but during the Renaissance, the colors were limited. A topiary is a tree or bush carved into geometric shapes which are placed in rows along the main axis of the garden. These plants can be any shape of choice. Topiaries can alternate with statues and vases. They need to look geometric, and a common topiary used is boxwood. Common flowers that are used in French formal gardens are annuals and perennials. Annuals live for only one growing season and need to be replaced. Perennials live for more than 2 years. There is a strong emphasis on warm and cool tones. The more traditional formal garden used just one type of flower, but many French formal gardens in today's world use a mixture of flowers. Some types of flowers used are lavender, dahlias, cannas, agapanthus, and tulips. Some common trees used in French formal gardens are beech, chestnut, elm, hornbeam, which can be shaped into hedges, and linden, considered a sacred tree in Greek mythology and originates in Europe and North America.
A local example of French formal gardens is at Nemours Mansion and Gardens located in Wilmington, Delaware. It consists of 5 major elements. First, the Long Walk, which leads away from the mansion to the reflecting pool, features Japanese Cristomeria, pink flowering horse chestnuts, and oaks. Second, the Achievement is a sculpture that sits over the maze garden on an elevated marble vase pedestal and is gilded with gold leaf. Third, the 4 Borders are on the south side of the gardens. 8,500 square feet of annuals and perennials line the borders along with tulip poplars. Fourth, the Temple of Love features a statue of Diana the Huntress. The sunken gardens consist of walls and steps of Italian travertine. The statuary is Carrara marble, and the pools and wall fountains feature bronzes. A local example is in Longwood Gardens. They feature fountains, cement structures, paths, and controlled landscape. Homes also feature French formal garden landscapes. They use examples like simple furniture, terraces, and water features.